Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today we have a preview of the Romania Musclefest happening this weekend. Joining me in the land that we used to call Britannia when I was a child, Giles Tiger Thomas. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Ron, how are you, mates?
Doing well. How is season 2 of Global Muscle Radio shaping up?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, we'll be back very, very soon. I'll be making some announcements very soon regarding that. So yeah, stay tuned to. I'll be mentioning on MD and on the Global Muscle Radio Instagram as well. I'll be doing some videos, so keep up to date with that. But we'll be back bigger and better than ever.
Fair enough. Now, yesterday I saw you trained with yet another Olympia champion. We know early in the year. Oh, you sore? You trained. I hope that's not your rotator cuff. So
No.
Earlier in the year you trained with Phil Heath, and yesterday 212 Olympia champ Kamal El Gardni. How did that go?
Yeah, well, he messaged me. Oh, fantastic! He messaged me last week, and he said, "Giles, I'm up in Newcastle visiting my sister for a week because they're with the children, obviously, so they can see their cousins." And he said, "You know any good gyms in Newcastle?" And I said, "Yeah. A friend of mine, he's got a gym, real good hardcore gym. You'll love it. Really good atmosphere, good lads, called McVicker's Gym."
Oh.
And so he said, "Well, I need to train there all week." He said, "Can you give him a call? Let him know I'm coming, just to make sure it's okay." And I said, "Yeah." So my mate was absolutely over the moon with that.
Oh.
And then I arranged to go up today because I'm going to be doing a pro tour with Kamal after the Arnold in America, in association with in association with BPI. So I'm just sorting it all out now, like a 5-day American tour.
You got to go to Boston. Come on.
We will, because obviously
it's only 5 days long.
Yeah, that's enough, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you got New York City, you got Los Angeles, you got Chicago, you got Miami. It's hard to narrow down the top 5 cities to go to. I don't know.
Well, if BPI want us to do a longer one, we'll do a longer one. So anyway, because obviously, I used to live in Newcastle, and I'm obviously good friends with bodybuilding legend John Citrone, and I know because he goes back and forth to Spain. So I messaged Kim, John's wife, and I said, are you guys in the country? I said, because I'd love John to come, and because we used to all kind of hang out together, meet Kamal and John back in the day. We trained together a few times, like 17 years ago, 18 years ago.
Wow.
Obviously, it was nice that because John's 76 now and he still trains every day.
He's still ripped. He still looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, me and John, that was my old training partner. We trained together for on and off straight for a year. And then I trained with him when he won the NABBA Worlds. He did the over 40s, even though there was the over 50s. He was like 56, 57, and he still won the over 40s.
Wow.
But and Kamal won the overall, so it was nice. And John says, "Yeah, I'd love to." So we all trained chest together, and you see the pictures on there. I put some on the MD Instagram, and it was absolutely fantastic. And the gym was buzzing. Everyone was having pictures with him, and it was really good. And I actually stayed at John's last night. It was really nice. And when those BMW, the one with the gull wing doors, the electric cars.
It's a hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And we went out in that last night. I'm going to rip around in that. So it was really good to catch up with some old friends. And Kamal he's only 6 kilos over his Olympia weight, and he took his top off, and I was like, whoa! He said, I'm staying in good condition all year round now. He says, oh, and Kamal is definitely, regardless of what he said on stage when he won the Olympia to Bob Chick, Kamal is going to defend his 2020 Olympia title.
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he?
So. Yeah, so he's very excited, so it's all good. So yeah, it was a good session, and it was really, even though chest is my absolute, I'm piss weak on chest, I always have been, but I gave him my best, and it was we had good fun. So yeah.
But I have to interject this because it's hilarious. It's so interesting. I'm covering the weekend after that. I'll be out in Long Beach covering the Legion Sports Fest, and there's a guy making his debut in the 212 division. How old do you think he is, Giles?
I've seen it, yeah.
84 years old, 84.
Oh, pro debut at 84.
Arthur Peacock. I'm going to get him on Ronline.
Get him on. That's amazing. Because I saw the picture from like in the 70s, early 70s with Arnold in the background, and he's there like, you just think, well, there's Ron, still hope for you with your pro card, mate. If that guy can get his pro cards.
If I can make my pro debut at 84, I'm cool with that.
If I could be alive at 84, I'll be cool with that.
Exactly. I'm not, I'm not counting my chickens. So let's get into this. This is the Wings of Strength Romania Musclefest, promoted by Tim Gardner in Bucharest, Romania, which is probably the capital, I'm guessing. Any idea? Okay, you've been to Romania.
Yeah.
Now we have some favorites. I don't know who my favorite is, but I'm going to say this is most likely going to come down to Cedric McMillan versus Juan Morel. Cedric just won a show in Hungary a couple weeks ago, and Juan Morel was second to Nathan in the, what country was that they were in?
Bucharest, Hungary.
Oh, they were in Hungary.
Yeah.
Oh, was that where Nathan won?
No, sorry. Nathan was. Nathan was Hungary.
Korea. Yeah, they were in Korea.
Korea. Yeah, the second one. Yeah.
Shows are all over the place.
Yeah.
So this is the second to last open show of the year. There's one more in Tokyo, but this is a second to last chance for guys to qualify early. Cedric already has his qualification for next year all sealed up. Juan does not. Juan would really love to win this. Geez, I know Juan's going to look great. I just saw him. He guest posed at the show in Boston over the weekend here. And, you know, condition-wise, you never even have to question Juan Morel. You know he's going to be in shape.
Yeah.
Cedric's always kind of like, I don't know. Which Cedric are we going to get? But he looked good enough to beat, who'd he beat? I can't remember who he beat. Did he beat Juan too? Probably. But Cedric just won a show. He looked better there than the Olympia, as usually. He usually does start looking better as after the Olympia, because I think the Olympia is like too much pressure for him or something.
Yeah, he didn't look good at the Olympia. I mean, I know he looked good on the second day at the Olympia. I mean, the first day I was like, he shouldn't even be top 10. I shouldn't have been top 10. He looked good, better on the second day, but it's like he was. It was as I expected. I expected him to be, because he got the invite late. I thought he's not going to be able to. He's going to be behind. He's going to look good, but he's going to be behind. He's going to look like he needs more time. So if he's now been prepping seriously since the Olympia, because he got 7th at Olympia, if he's going to have that time, then he probably will be peaking around now.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to be peaking. So, and he looked better at Hungary, but still nowhere near because I loved how Cedric looked at the Arnold Australia. I mean, I did have him beating Bonac. I had him beating Bonac. I just thought he looked absolutely incredible.
What about that San Marino show that you covered a couple of years ago? Would you say that wasn't his best? You say the Arnold Australia?
No, Arnold Australia, and I think the year he won. The thing is, that year he won the Arnold, he even wasn't actually like grainy, because he never really. But he's improved things like those trouble areas, like the conditioning in his hamstrings and glutes, which used to be the trouble areas. Right. But now it seems to be the midsection. You can tell with Cedric now, as soon as he walks out, if his midsection is blurry, he's off everywhere. But if he can come in with that midsection nice, and because it gets very bloated as well and very watery, and it's such, because thing is, he's got such a pretty physique. If his midsection and everything, it's like when you see like Kamal, and it just everything's. If the midsection is off, it kind of throws off the whole picture. Right. So I really, really am expecting, if he comes in with his midsection good for this one, he was actually at Hungary, in fairness to him, but nothing was really popping. I think he maybe just come in a little bit flat and just thought, I won't overcarb, I'll just play it safe and just come in a little bit flat but sharp. But I want to see him nice and like he was at the because when he's on and when he's full, he looks so big. Like everything, like his lats when he does his front double bicep, everything just seems to look so much bigger and rounder. So that's the Cedric I'm expecting to see at this show. So, and if he does that, then hands down he will win this. And I think because even the momentum of winning Hungary, by the time the Olympia comes around next year, and we're all going to forget about that show. It wasn't a big show. Yeah. But if he wins this one and he looks as good as he did the Arnold Australia, that will give him momentum for the Olympia, because it's a big show, and it's kind of like the last one. I think if he looks as good as he did the Arnold Australia, that will give him a little bit of momentum and keep fresh in people's minds for the Olympia next year. Yeah,
and Juan, I got to give the guy credit. It's been a long year. He won the Arnold South America in Brazil. I think that was April. Did the New York Pro in May. He won that. He's done a bunch of shows. I want to say he's done like 5 or 6 shows already this year. But condition-wise, he's definitely hanging on. Like I said, I just saw him live and in person in front of me, and yeah, he's going to give him a battle. If Cedric's off, if something happens with Cedric, I could see Juan taking over that.
I liked how I liked how Juan looked at the New York Pro. I thought that was a really good look. Yeah, that was impressive. That was an impressive look. But do you not think that Regan Grimes could beat Juan? That was my next.
He's that's my dark horse for this show. I've been looking at his pictures. He's so much bigger. He's got such beautiful shape. You know, I thought Classic was a bad move for him, and apparently he must have agreed, because it didn't last. It lasted, 2 shows, and then he was back putting the size back on. He's kept his waist really tight. He's just got a really beautiful shape and structure. He's got plenty of size now. Condition looks good. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say he's going to win. I don't think he's going to beat Cedric McMillan and Juan Morel. But stranger things have happened, as Kai Green likes to say.
Yeah. Do you remember when we saw him? Sorry, at the 27 Tampa.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really sharp, but to me he looked very lower heavy, and his upper body, I was like, give that guy a couple of years, give him a chance to fill out his upper body, to bring it in balance with his, and if he gets a bit more muscle maturity, because it was kind of new, fresh muscle, I think he's going to be absolutely deadly, and no one's going to like wipe the floor with him. So, and that's what and from the photos I've seen, his balance now between his upper and lower, I think he's really, really good now. So, and if he brings that conditioning, I mean, I think it could be between Regan and Cedric. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't put it past him. I haven't seen him on stage as an open competitor since then. It's been well over 2 years since we saw him at that Tampa show. So he's a very different bodybuilder now than he was then. I'm just curious to see how he compares.
That's all he needed as well. He needed 2 years. He needed it.
He did. He's only, I want to say he's only 26 now.
Something like that. Yeah.
He's still a very young guy. But we also have Lucas Osladil from the Czech Republic, who just took third in Hungary. He's been third and fourth in a ton of shows this year. Yeah. This is his 8th show of the year. Wow. And I've been at most of them. I've been to all the U.S. shows that he's done this year, and condition is just perfect every time. He doesn't miss his peak. He doesn't flatten out. He doesn't spill over. He's got it nailed down to a science, this guy. So top 3, top 4, very, very, very likely. It's hard. Now we're starting to get into where would you put them, but I see him doing no worse than 4th.
I disagree. I know he did his best ever at the Olympia this year. He took 8th place at the Olympia, and he's very, very good condition. But to me, I think his conditioning's off this year. I think, honestly, because I know he's put a lot of size on, and I think he's sacrificed. Thing is, it has worked for him in terms of placings. He's had, like you said, he's been top 3 or 4. He had 8th at Olympia. Does he ever crack the top 10 at Olympia before?
Nope.
It's like it really is starting to work for him. But I'm so used to seeing him so fucking shredded and so detailed. I would love to see him with this new fresh size that he has. I would love to see him in the kind of conditioning he was getting last year, because I think if he can just come in a tad sharper, like we've been used to seeing him when he was a 212, when he was an open, but wasn't actually doing as well. I think. Well,
the thing is you say like at the Olympia that wasn't the best condition for him, but he was still in better shape than anyone except maybe Hadi on that stage.
Yeah. Or Patrick Moore.
So I'm saying his 90% condition is still better than 90% of everyone else.
Yeah, the thing is,
like Dexter.
Yeah, but I'm comparing him more to him. I'm comparing him to the previous versions rather than, I suppose, when you look at it as in compared to everybody else, he's still ahead. Yeah. I'm measuring against how he was, like how I used to seeing him. But the ironic thing is, this is actually been like his most successful Olympia and look to date. So really, he could come in like that again and still be a threat.
He was probably told by somebody high up, we'd like to see more size, and he gave them and it worked. And like you said, he gave them what they wanted, and they're rewarding him for it. So
yeah.
Max Charles is also going to be in this show. Max with 2 X's. He took 7th in Hungary. I'm trying to remember how he qualified for the Olympia this year. If he had won one of the smaller shows. He won this show last year.
He won Romania last year because Clarence David was 2nd.
There you go. See, this is why I have you around, Giles, because your memory is still intact. You got that encyclopedic knowledge. But Max, I don't know. Max seems like he's fading. To me, Max looks like he needs a rest. He needs a break.
Yeah.
He's just looking tired. He's a huge guy. Still needs. I hate when I repeat myself over and over again. But to me, his legs still do not really match that upper body. He's got such big, round, full musculature in the entire torso, arms, delts, everything. And the legs. If you put those legs on somebody else, you'd be like, oh, those are really good legs. But there's a few people we could say the same thing for.
Yeah. The thing with Max is, it's like sometimes they come into like a big show and they try something like with Juan did at the Olympia. He really wanted to push the conditioning and he pushed it too far over the edge, and he ended up he was shredded, but he could see nothing was popping. Nothing was like, he didn't look like Juan usually looks like one of the biggest up there in terms of his chest and shit. But he did it and nothing was popping, but his skin was thin. But then if they come into another show and they just fill out and relax a bit, like he did at what was the one that Juan did the other week? you know, they look better,
Hungry.
or they guest pose and you think that's more like it. They just come in as they are or whatever. So if Max can tweak things a little bit and just fill out, he's either going to, I'm expecting him to look a lot better or a lot worse. So if he can do a lot better, then he's obviously first call out. I mean, he's the defending champion. So I just think, I think if it was a case that his body wasn't tired and it was just something like where he pushed whatever too hard at the Olympia, because he looked poor at the Olympia. Let's not get away from that. But when Max is on, he's a very, very impressive physique. So I'm just hoping he just comes in just a little bit more. He looked a bit depleted, you know, and if he can just maybe fill out a little bit, then he's gonna do well at this one.
Yeah, because he was 7th in Hungary a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, 7th in a show like that, he should be making top. He should be top.
Exactly. If you're Max Charles and you're going to a small show in Europe, if you're not in top 5, something's amiss. Last guy we'll talk about in the Open is all the way from Hungary, Daniel Toth. Very, very balanced, complete physique on this guy. I don't recall him being the biggest man, but very complete. Usually comes in great condition.
Yeah, you've said it. I mean, he's big, he's freaky, he's wide. He's, I mean, the midsection's not that pretty, but I've been speaking to Patrick, and I know that they were working on, I think last year I spoke to him, he said, we're really going to work on the midsection because it kind of spoiled the picture, because he'd added a lot of size, because he used to have a very pretty shape. He wasn't like a freaky mascot, so he had quite a very aesthetic, beautiful looking physique.
That's how I remember him.
Yeah, and then he kind of started, I mean, you're talking about 10 years ago now. And then he just kind of came in and was like, whoa, he looks so much bigger, but he'd lost a bit of the aesthetics, you know? But, you know, the one thing is he's very big, he's very wide, and he's very, very well conditioned. So if he can bring that midsection to improve the picture, he's going to be, well, he'll be like in, you know, the top 6. He'll be in the top 6. He'll be in the mix. I mean, he's too big and he's too impressive not to be.
Right. Classic physique. I'm only going to talk about one man, much to the chagrin of all the other guys in Classic. My apologies, guys. But I saw Wesley Visser's on the list, looked up his social media, and Wesley is in fantastic condition right now. Wesley, if you don't win this, I'm going to stop being your fan. I'll tell you that. You better win, Wesley, because he's got a fantastic physique, condition, things like color, you know, things that takes a young person usually a couple of years to figure out. He's really starting to put it all together, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Wesley's had a bit of an unusual year because so much expectations were placed upon Wesley, and then he took 10th place at the Arnold. And I remember you and me were sat there at the judging, and I was like, he's the biggest thing up there. He doesn't even look classic. He looks like a super heavyweight. And I did think 10th was harsh. I think he should have been 2 to 4 spots higher. Yeah, I would say 2 or 3 spots higher. I thought 10th was harsh. He got 15th at Olympia the year before. Right. But Wesley's one of these guys that he's kind of, if you actually look at his career, he only turned pro last March at the London show. Right. So you think about what he's done since then, and it's like we're kind of so used to him. We think he's been around, but he's only been around like a year and a half. Yeah. A year and a half. So and I didn't even realize he was even competing until recently. Like, he's really kept it quiet. And I follow his social media because I like his social media. I think he's a very, very good self-promoter. He's very good, and he gives a lot to the fans and the young trainers and stuff like that. And he's someone that I really want to see him come in the condition as when I saw him backstage at the London show last year, the London Pro, Royal London Pro, Bob Chick show. I just want to see him with that new size. I just want to see it ripped up. That's all I want to see. And I want to see him get a nice win. And I want to see him. I'd love to see him top 6 at Olympia next year. I think he's good enough to be top 6 Olympia.
Absolutely.
It's just muscle maturity, like with Regan. It's just he needs a little bit more muscle maturity, a bit more refinement, because he's got such a beautiful physique. I mean, he's the carbon copy of Arnold.
And I'm getting way ahead of myself here talking about the Olympia, so stop me. But you know, he compares very well. If Chris Bumstead is now the ideal classic physique competitor with his height and his shoulder spin, his aesthetics, then Wesley is definitely more in that mold than a lot of these other guys who want the title are.
Yeah.
So, 6th place, I think, maybe even a couple spots higher than that for sure. But
the classic now. I mean, the classic at the Olympia, 35 competitors. Remember, we were filming. I was doing the Instagram live. I was like, this is the best classic lineup. Because some of the classic shows, I've always thought, like at the Arnolds and the Olympias, like the top 5 were very good, but some of the guys, like there was like 40 guys, and I'm thinking 20 of these guys don't even deserve to be here. No disrespect, but like they weren't in condition, and I was like, how did they even get their pro card? But now, this year at the Olympia, everyone looked great. Everyone looked great. Everyone was like, I mean, now it's like the top 15 at the Olympia now, instead of just the 3 or 4 or 5 guys. Were all impressive, and they're all moving up. So, but by the time the Olympia comes around next year, the whole, where we see the rankings and stuff is going to be completely different, because it's such a rapidly growing class.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to belay the subject, but I was at several shows this year, and if I had a moment of downtime and the classic was up, there were guys, and I'd be asking myself, how did that guy turn pro? And I'd look him up. I'd do a quick search on him. It was some obscure show. He was the Masters, bantamweight. I don't know. It was always some really bizarre way they turned pro.
Yeah.
But let's move on.
Hang on. Can I ask something?
Yes,
51 Neng Chen, is that the Nan Chen guy that got 5th at Olympia? Is that the same as Branch? Because I've seen his name a couple of different ways. I've seen it Branch Chen, and it's Chen Kang. Is it Neng?
I doubt Branch is his real name, for one thing.
No, but that's what he was at last year, and then he turned up to the Olympia, and it was Nen Chen.
It's Chen Kang, isn't it?
Kang, yeah, sorry, Chen Kang. And I see a guy here with Neng Chen. Is that, and he's from China? Is it coincidence? Is that the same guy?
Unknown, Captain. Unknown. I don't know.
Yeah, but if it is, then Wesley's got a battle on his hands, because that guy is fine. Remember, we did the wrap up with Flex Wheeler, and Flex Wheeler was going, that Chen Kang, he said, he's amazing. He's really going to the top. That guy could win the Olympia, So
if it's the same guy, he's tough.
Yeah.
He was top 5 in the Olympia the first time out, and and we never heard of him. I had no idea who he was.
I'd heard of him because he beautiful poser, huge legs. I mean, he's impressive.
I asked David Henry in my interview with him the other day, because he served in the military. He was stationed in Korea for a time. I said, why do they all have such big legs? He says, I don't know. I'm still waiting for the answer. Somebody's going to tell me one day. Someone's going to say, it's this chromosome. So 212 division.
Yep.
Not too many familiar names, but the one that stood out to me as probably the favorite is the blacksmith, Sami El Haddad. Sammy hasn't gotten a lot of love this year at the bigger shows. He was in the Olympia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this is his show. This is his show to win or lose.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's very well put together. He's tough to beat, especially in a lineup like this.
Well, with Sammy, when he was around kind of he hopped over to the IFBB, was in 2000. He started 2012 because he came second to Flex Lewis at the British Grand Prix and second at the Prague. And it was like, it was close. These was like, I was like, shit, Sammy could be top 3 Olympia. And then he won the New York Pro, I think 2013, or was it second? Yeah, he started doing really well. I thought, okay, this guy is like a real threat for the Olympia title. And then a couple of last few years, he was getting like 13th at Olympia. He wasn't winning smaller shows to qualify. He was struggling to qualify to get to the Olympia. He was getting second and thirds. And I was thinking, you're getting beat by guys here that really aren't as good as you. So I thought he was, and plus he's like mid-40s. And I thought, oh, he's going to start dropping off now. Right. And then he turned up at the Olympia and George Farah prepped him.
Oh.
And he came out and I was like, whoa, Sammy's back. Sammy is back. I mean, I believe I've got 5th place in my head at the Olympia.
He didn't get 5th, did he, at the Olympia?
5th. It was 5th or 6th.
Okay. Yeah. I was so focused on Kamal and Derek, I probably forgot about everybody else.
And little Sean Farada.
Sean Fleury, that's right. Yeah, Sean.
No, he was first call out, and they kept him in. They did. I think he was in the. They called him out a few times, and I was thinking, shit, Sammy is really on. He seems to fade quite quick, but when he came out, I was like, this is like he's clear top 5, and it was a really good 212 lineup, as you remember. But so if this is a real return of Sammy, and it wasn't just a fluke or a one-off at the Olympia, like a one-time peak, yes, 100%. I think it's between him and number 30.
Yeah, Angel, we got this Angel Calderon, who I didn't know who he was. I mean, until the Olympia, I wasn't paying any attention to this guy. Put it that way. He's from Mexico, but man. From a distance, I think I saw him before the show from a distance, and I thought it was Ronnie Raquel.
Yeah.
And I got closer. I go, that's not Ronnie Raquel. Who is this? And then when he was on stage, I'm like, oh my God, this guy looks great. I mean, he's massive, so thick, no gut. Yeah, just so full and dense. He's one of those 212 guys that you have a really hard time believing is 212 or under.
I was just about to say that.
Built like a brick shithouse, as we like to say.
Yeah, so. He was 10th at the Olympia, and I think that was him and Patrick Moore. I think were the ones that everyone said, okay, placing aside, they were the real shocks. They were the real guys that really delivered. It's and then people were saying, I don't know whether I have to really go through the pictures and stuff to see where he should have placed. But he delivered. He looked good, and he was one of the real kind of talking points, certainly of that 212. I know we had an amazing top three, but outside of the top three, he was the biggest talking point of the 212. And so he's always been pretty good. He's been competing around Europe and different countries, and he always does well. But this was a real breakthrough from the Olympia. So I think he could really give Sammy, like if Sammy's off from the Olympia, and Angel, I think you said Angel, yes. It depends. If Sammy's done that and Angel's like just done that, he could pip him. I think he could win this. I think he could win. Sammy's not as good as he was at the Olympia. 100% Angel could beat him.
He's no joke, people.
No, it's fantastic.
So next up, we have a guy I'm not that familiar with, so help me out here. Radoslav Angelov, probably from Russia, I'm guessing, somewhere like that.
He's from Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, even better. Okay.
Bulgaria. Yeah, he won one of the Two Bros shows in UK. It was June last year. He was a middleweight.
Oh wow.
He was an 80 kilo, and he won the overall. He won the overall, got his pro card because that was the one I judged wellness at.
Okay.
The Two Bros. And and he stays in touch actually, because I had him on my old show, Muscle News Weekly, a few times, and he always follows my stories on Instagram. And he sent me some pictures. Was it like a week or two ago? And he said, when Sean Clarida said to me on Global, and he said, "Oh, I put 10 pound on," and I'm like, yeah, but by the time you dry out, it's probably going to be more like 4 or 5, and then you might your condition might not be as good. That's what you're thinking at the back of your mind. And he showed me some pictures, and he says I'm going to be like a full. It was a good 6 to 8, something like that, pounds bigger. And these guys have got small frames, so 6 to 8 pounds or whatever. Yeah. And he put a lot of muscle on. He's got a great back, and so he's hovering up towards sort of 190 now. But he's a really complete physique. I think he's brought his legs up a bit, but he's a guy to keep an eye out for, because he's these guys that are kind of at the early stages of their career. That still have so much room to play with in the category, and they can still do well. Yeah. These are the ones you have to keep an eye on, because the guys who are maxed out or struggling to make down to 212, they're kind of left with nowhere to go. They can't really make much improvements to their physiques. But guys like this, if they can place well, being 20 pounds under the 212 limit, then those are the guys you have to keep an eye on.
Now, to do just to follow that math analogy, 5 pounds on Sean Clarida would be like 45 pounds on Big Ramy.
Yeah.
True story.
Well, I said actually, for Clarida to put on 10 pounds is like Steve Kuclo coming in 25 pounds heavier.
Absolutely. I mean,
or Ramy, yeah.
I mean, you got somebody this wide and this tall versus, it's a physics thing. The other guy, I did recognize this name. Now sometimes it takes me a few minutes for my memory to start working. So Adolphus Koida,
yes.
Quouda. I'm going to say Koida. Yeah, he won the 212 up at the Toronto show when I was there, beating out the heavy pre-contest favorite, the Dura.
Yes.
Mahmoud El Dura. Adolphus looked great. I mean, I had never heard of the guy before. And certainly, like I said, Dura was the guy I was expecting to win. And once they had compared and everything, I said, I don't know how it's going to go, but this guy looks pretty damn good. And sure enough, he won. Balanced, classic, tiny waists. I mean, he has the shape and structure of a lot of the classic guys, but he's got a little bit more roundness and fullness. I think he's going to do well here too in the 212.
I like his that clean, sharp, the very sharp separations and the really clean lines, and the the ham glute, the separation where it's just like it's carved, it's just dry. There's just nothing. Like when you see Bonac when he turns to the side, or the separation about everything's just clearly separated. Everything's popping. Everything looks full. He's very, very wide. If you look at his back, I mean, his rear lat spread is just it's colossal, but it's all very detailed and very dry. I like his physique. I think he's really, really good, and I think he'll be up there. He'll be battling for the top 3.
And the last guy we'll speak about in the 212 division is Germany's Mike Sommerfeld, who I am not familiar with at all. I'm terrible.
Well,
Who is this guy?
he's from Germany. He turned pro at the Royal London Pro again, the same one that Wesley won the Classic at last year. Yeah. He won he won the heavyweights and overall. Great poser. He's he's got that. If you see pictures, you'll remember him because he has that frontal bicep where it just looks like a cartoon character. His lats just come out. It looks like he's been photoshopped. It looks like he's been photoshopped.
Now I think I remember. Now that you tell me that.
And he does like the cartwheels and stuff on stage. He's a really good poser.
Cartwheels.
He's been like really grafting away. Now the thing is, he turned pro as a 99 kilo heavyweight, so he's now coming down to 96 kilo, and I'm really happy to see him as a 212 because he's kind of got everything there. So, but he just needed a little bit more refinement. So if he's really been training hard, which some of the photos I can see that he has. He's going to be looking really detailed and separated and conditioned, and really, he's going to have a really quality physique, and he's going to be at the absolute limit because 212 is 96 kilos, 96.1 kilo. So he's really going to be driving, and he's prepped by Patrick Tour as well.
Patrick's a busy dude. Okay. Women, yeah, what were you saying about Patrick? Good guy? Yeah. So this show, like all Tim Gardner and Wings of Strength Productions, has women's bodybuilding. It was a good lineup. I'm only going to mention a few names, the ones that really stood out to me. Kim Buck from the USA. She's been very good for a long time. Lisa Cross from the UK, who you've seen, I'm sure, many a time.
Fantastic.
And probably the one we're the most excited to see is this from Russia. Her name is Natalia Kuznetsova, but she goes by Natalie Amazonka.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how tall she is, but she's huge. There's been pictures posted of her like standing next to Bonac, next to various people, top pros, and she has as much or more sheer mass. Granted, she was off-season shape, and this is going to be dieted down, but yeah, I mean, a lot of her pictures, when you see her on social media or people share her pictures, you think they're photoshopped. She's so big.
Right. The thing with Natalia is, there is so much hype. There is her social media following, it's insane. I mean, this girl is literally like a bodybuilding sensation. But the thing is, last year when she turned pro, because there's only 2 in the category, and obviously she won it and turned pro, like her condition was like, it was like 8 weeks out. It was way off. So she looks great so last year she looked great in pictures, but then when you saw the footage of her actually on stage, she had a thick waist. She was way out of condition. But the photos we've seen coming in this year, I can see she is a little bit bigger again. But I'm seeing like real detail. But I'm so curious to see if that is going to translate.
It looks fake. It doesn't even look real.
She's unbelievable. But do you know what? I think it'll be exciting just to see her on. I mean, come on. She's amazing.
Yeah, 506,000 followers.
Because she's how many?
506,000 followers on Instagram.
They're probably not bought either, like a lot of these people.
Yeah. No, I'm sure those aren't. Those are real.
But the thing with Natalia is she's just incredible. She's absolutely amazing. I mean, I hope that what I'm seeing in these pictures with the condition of it, I hope they're not sharpened up pictures or they're filtered, or I hope she looks, even if she looks 80% as good in the pictures as she does on stage, I think the crowd's going to go absolutely insane for her. Because the thing about female bodybuilders, because they had those few years where they were kind of in, from 2013 when they dropped it, the Olympia. Yeah. It's like a lot of the older women, the more established competitors, they kind of carried on training. A couple switched to women's physique, but it didn't really allow for any opportunity for any new blood to come through.
Right.
Like you see these like now, but now that they Jake Wood in the last year or two, it's really started resurging with a good prize money at the Rising Phoenix show.
Right.
Like, there's starting to come a new breed of female bodybuilders like Natalia, like Christina Nicole.
Yes.
Yeah. So like because up till now, like next year's Olympia, when the female bodybuilding comes back, it's just going to be the same names we saw 6 years ago. Just older, but still great. But I want to see the new breed.
There's going to be a whole new crew. I'm sure there's going to be probably anywhere between 6 and 10 brand new faces up there that were never on an Olympia stage before because they were too young and there was they weren't pros yet. Maybe they weren't even training yet. Who knows?
I just want to see Natalia looking like in proper contest condition, because last year that wasn't contest, that was guest posing condition. So I've yet, and if she can hold on to that size and get conditioned, she's just going to be, she'll steal the show.
Yeah, I mean, AJ is going to be there, by the way, everybody. AJ is going to be in Romania getting all kinds of interviews, paparazzi pictures. And AJ is a huge fan of women's bodybuilding. So those of you looking for good women's bodybuilding coverage, you can be sure you're going to get it from AJ. Yeah. He's very loyal to the cause. He has a thread on MD. What's it called? Hyping women's bodybuilding or something like that. But he's very much a supporter. He's doing everything in his power to try to get more publicity for these hardworking women. Last division we're going to talk about is women's physique. And I'm only going to talk about two names that really stood out to me from Russia. Valentina Mashina, who's done very well at many top events, and Margita Zamolova from Czech Republic.
Yes, so, Valentina, that was the first time I'd seen her in the flesh on stage at the Olympia. She was sixth, and I absolutely loved. I mean, I remember seeing the pictures in some of the on MD, you know, when she'd competed, and I just thought, what a beautiful women's physique look. Absolutely, like just graceful. You know, that kind of Russian beauty. You know, that the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Just that grace they have, you know, that real, that sort of, they're just stunning. They're stunning to look at, you know, just their physique and but I like the shape of her legs and the condition and the separate. She met my expectations at the Olympia, and she got sixth place, which is a real acknowledgement of how good she is. Margita, yeah, I had a thing on last episode of Global Muscle where Alina Popper reckons that she's going to switch up to women's bodybuilding, and I disagreed, and then we took a bet on the show. If you watch it,
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Because I think Margita is perfect women's physique. I think she's fantastic. She was 15th last year. I think she was 10th this year, but I think she deserved a lot higher, because I think the look she brought to the Olympia this year was perfect. I thought she was too shredded last year. But this look she brought this year, because she's got a very beautiful face, and even when she's like totally shredded, she still doesn't get like the horrible androgynous sunken in. She's still. I don't know how.
Some of these women, it looks like you could put your entire fist inside one of their cheek hollows. Yeah.
But Margita, she's one of these ones, because my ex Rosie competed against her last year, and I was looking around backstage. Rosie was getting tanned up, and I was looking, and I went, "I said, have you seen her?" I said, "She's really good." Because like she had the physique, she had the condition, but she had the very pretty face, femininity, which is what women's physique really should be about. They shouldn't have So
yeah, that's why they created the division, was to have a slightly softer alternative to women's bodybuilding.
So I absolutely see this as being a real battle. You've picked out the two best there, Valentina and Margita, but that's going to be a real. Just seeing those two on stage is going to be worth it alone. So that's going to be a really exciting one. That one.
Cool. So to remind everyone again, if you go to musculardevelopment.com on the No Bull forums, we're going to have a thread where AJ will be putting up his commentary, photos. We'll be posting his videos. I'm very curious. AJ he's a go-getter. I can't wait to see which interviews he gets. And
it's going to be good.
You know, he's got a very entertaining style. It's not boring. He's never boring. Nope. He's got a lot of energy and enthusiasm. We like that.
That's why he's my co-host.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming up soon, season 2 of Global Muscle Radio with Giles and AJ. Coming very soon, everybody. Keep your eyes peeled for that.
Sorry to interrupt. I wouldn't do Global without him, mate.
Oh, I know you wouldn't, and I don't think it would be the same. It wouldn't be the same show without him.
Wouldn't do without. No way.
Yeah, you guys have a rapport, a banter, and everything that I don't think you could duplicate. Unless I was there. But here we go. That's it. That has been our preview of the Romania Musclefest happening this weekend in Bucharest, Romania. I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, but like I said, we have AJ on the scene, and we will all be following online to see how it all goes down. Thank you, Giles Tiger Thomas, as always, for your expertise, commentary, and witty, dry British humor that I don't always understand. And thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.